Hey everybody, it's me, Wally, for ERA Decker Real Estate. How are you? It's called Ask the Realtor Live at Lunch. I am broadcasting live on my Facebook profile page, also on my business page. Over on my business page, you're going to see a little bit of weird stuff going on. It looks like there's some butterflies that are floating around on my page for some reason. I have no idea how that happened, but it'll be entertaining for you. So you can go on and click on my business page to find that out after this is all over with, and find out exactly why this is happening. It's technology that I just don't understand. So, Ask the Realtor Live at Lunch. Hi, I am a New York State licensed associate real estate broker for ERA Decker Real Estate. Got my hair done this week. It's all been coiffed. I needed a haircut really bad. So, anyway, what's going on? What's been happening this week? We're going to get to it. Also, I've got something special for you this week, too. It's going to be called, or it is called, the 10 Weirdest Real Estate Questions Ever. You're going to find out some stupid things that people ask us. But first off, as promised today, here's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about taxes and how do you get them reduced? How do you lower your taxes on your house? Well, first of all, you don't. That's the bad news. The good news is you can lower your tax assessment. So here's what the deal is that most of the people, and I understand what you're asking about, everybody wants to pay less to the government every year. They want to pay less school taxes, they want to pay less village or city taxes, and they want to pay less town and county taxes. All that stuff accounts for your things that are going on in the town, the police, your sewer, your septic, all that kind of stuff. Thanks, Keith, for the nice hairdo comment. So, first of all, if you want to be able to pay less to your local municipality, you need to get the terminology correct. If you go into your assessor and you say, hey, I want to get my taxes lowered, they're going to say, well, that's fine, but I have no control over lowering your taxes. However, I do have control over lowering your tax assessment. So what does that mean? So first of all, you need to learn the right terminology. And it's crucial because a lot of times the assessor will just say, nah. If you say, I want to get my taxes lowered, that's great. They're like, sorry, you're out the door. Here's the thing. You have to have the right terminology. And if you give the assessor, and they're not necessarily the enemy, by the way, if you give the assessor the chance to kick you out the door, that's fine. Their job is to be able to create a tax roll and be able to pay the town, the cities, the villages, the school districts budgets for the next year. So you need to learn the right terminology first of all. So this is the way it is. Write this down, remember it. I'll bring it up again, but you need to have these words down correctly. I'd like to make an appointment to have my assessment, my tax assessment, reviewed. Don't go to them and say, hey, I want to have my taxes lowered. That's a bad thing. I want to come in and talk about my assessment and see if there's a way I can reduce my assessed value on my house. That's what you need to understand, first of all. So that's part of what you need to understand and what you need to do. So how do you do that? Well, here's the thing. If you go in and you say, hey, my house is assessed for $130,000 and my house is worth $130,000, you don't have a leg to stand on. Just because you want your tax assessment lowered, and there you'd have your taxes lowered that you have to pay, you got to give the assessor some reason to be able to say, yes, I can lower these taxes. So you need to kind of know about the whole process. You need to know your dates. Usually tax grievance day, by the way, in most municipalities is the 4th Tuesday of May. So it would be next week. Some municipalities are different. Greene, the town of Greene's, is actually coming up the 1st Tuesday, I believe, in June. So I have that date here someplace, or maybe the 2nd Tuesday, but I'll get that to you. But you need to call your local assessor's office to find out exactly when that tax grievance day is. So do you need to go to tax grievance day? You don't. What you could do is you could go make an appointment with your assessor and say, look, I want to not even bother with the whole grievance thing because that terminology just makes me crazy. Can I come in and talk to you, Mr. or Miss Assessor, and can I talk to you about having my tax assessment lowered? Get the terminology correct. So you make the appointment. And make sure you make it to the appointment. Make sure you're there on time. They have a lot of people to see. If you're late, they're going to maybe kick you out of the room. So basically what you're doing is going in and telling the assessor that they made a mistake on what your house is worth. So how do you know what your house is worth? You can call one of us. You can call your real estate professional. If you just bought your house and the assessment for it was for $178,000. Hi, Diana. How are you? If your assessment was, or if your house is assessed for $178,000 and you just bought it for $140,000 and it was an arm's length transaction, which means it wasn't from a relative, it wasn't from your sister, which is a relative, I guess. It has to be arm's length. It can't be or an estate or anything like that. Arm's length transaction, which means that it was basically on the up and up and it wasn't a discount deal for you. So you just got to go in and show them the contract for your house and say, well, this is what I paid for it. So that's about all you need to do, right? Nope, it ain't. So what else do you need to do? Well, when you're going in to talk to your assessor about lowering the assessment taxes for your house, you need to bring some information with you. And what do I mean by that? I mean, basically what you're doing is you're going into the assessor's office and saying, you're wrong. What you did is wrong. Your terminology, or I'm sorry, your math was all wrong. My house is worth this. I need to prove that it's worth this. They don't have to change a darn thing for you. They don't. But you need to have some bullets, pardon the phrase, in your gun when you walk in. You got to have some proof, right? Hey, Tom, how are you? Dave, Shane, Mike, thanks for joining us. What you need to do is you need to go and pull off some comps. And what I mean is other homes within the last year, or maybe 2, sometimes 3, other homes that are like yours, similar square footage, maybe similar numbers of bedrooms and bathrooms and garage and acreage, other homes that have sold within the last couple of years. You need to bring that in with your contract of your house or the information that you've got at your closing for your house, your closing disclosure, and bring it into the assessors. Now, this all sounds like it may be some sort of, it's way too much work to do. It's not. It really is not. Is it worth it to go to the trouble to try to get your assessment lowered so you pay less money? Don't you want to pay less money every day? Don't you look for sales in the grocery store? Don't you look for, when you go to cars, don't you look for the least amount of money you have to pay? Don't you go to the car salesman and go, hey, you know what? I'm not going to pay this, but I'll pay you right here. How about we make a deal right here? This is what I'll do. I'll walk off the lot. It's kind of what you're doing. But you need to go in and tell the assessor, hey, here is what it is. The house is assessed for $178,000. I paid $140,000 for it. So here's my closing disclosure. And here is a house that's similar to mine that sold last year. Here's another house that's similar to mine that was sold last year just down the block. Should come in with 3 if you can. Here's another house that was right around the corner from mine, same school district, similar, that sold. And if you have any more, obviously this ain't it. If you have any more, to bring them with you, the more the better. But come prepared. Make sure you're neat. Make sure you're on time. Not just yourself neat. Make sure you have all this stuff nice and neat in a pile. Make sure you have copies as well. That way, if the assessor asks you to leave this information with them, because they'll probably not make a decision right on the spot to lower your tax assessment, because they're going to want to think about it. You need to be able to make sure everything is nice and neat and tidy. Don't give the assessor a reason to say, no, we're not going to lower your assessment. Hey, Gary, how are you? Showing up on my business page right now with the butterflies flying. So you want to make sure that you don't give the assessor any reason at all for a technicality to kick this on out the door. So can you go meet with your assessor? Yeah, I highly recommend that you go meet with the assessor in your town to be able to get this thing done before tax grievance day. So make sure you have all the information that you need. So let me ask you this question. Do you know how they come up with your tax assessment? How does that happen? How do they make sure that your house is worth what it is? Why do they charge you? It's kind of like you're renting the land even though you own it. It's kind of like them charging you for your home, but you don't really know how they came up with this thing. So here's the process, and you probably don't care about it, but I'm going to explain it to you anyway just to make it clear and quick. So just like you should do at your house, and I don't do it mine, generally people come up with a budget every year. Here's how much money I make during the year. Here's how much money I budgeted to spend on this and on food and on my fuel oil for the home for the winter. And here's how much money I've budgeted to spend on here's how much money I've budgeted to spend on my entertainment. The town does the same thing. The municipality does the same thing, whether it be your town, your school district, or your village. They all do the same thing. So, we need, X amount of dollars for buses, for the gas for the buses. We need money for retirement benefits. We need money for, whatever, and teachers' salaries and all that stuff. So your school district does it, your town does it, everybody does it. They come up with a budget and they say, here's how much it's going to cost us to run this government, this mega thing this year. So how do we pay for this? That's how they pay for it. They assess your home. So if the budget for the year is $10 million, then the assessed value of all the properties in that area have to meet $10 million. A little different with school districts because they do have state aid. So let's throw that out of there. That's kind of thrown into the picture there. But so that's how they come up with it. So they go, okay, we need $10 million to make this happen this year. So how are we going to do that? Well, that's when they go through and they tax the tax rate. So everybody's house is assessed at a certain amount for the year. And then there's that, equalization rate that's going to probably lower or higher, raise the money that you have to pay every year to your local municipality. So that's what it is. So when you're going in and saying, hey, I want my tax assessment reduced, that's effectively taking money out of the pocket of your town, your village, your school district. So they're going to want to know some good reasons why you're taking the money out of their pockets. And not just this year, you're taking future money out of them because they're lowering your assessed value. Hence, when I say when you go in to talk to your assessor, you want to make sure that you have all the things that you need for them. You want to make sure you have all the information and to let them know this is why I think that you're wrong with the assessment. Can housing values go up and down? We know that, right? We know that locally some of the housing values have gone up. Why? Because there has been a lack of inventory on the market. So some of the houses have been selling higher. Have some of the houses been selling for a lower value? Yeah, they sure have. Why? Because it's just the way it is. It's the market conditions. People decide that they're going to live over here instead of over here. So that's why it makes this more desirable, this school district, than this one over here. So what I'm saying to you, without going any more great length, make sure that you have all of this stuff ready to go for your assessor. Don't forget, in most municipalities, tax grievance day comes up next Tuesday. It's the 4th Tuesday of May. Check though, because sometimes it's not that. And it's always better to talk to your assessor first. Why? Because a lot of times you can avoid tax grievance day if you go in and say, my house is only worth $140 and it's assessed for $180. You might get them to meet in the middle at some point. It still means that you can still go to tax grievance if you don't agree to do that, just so you know. So know your dates. That's a big thing. I'm looking at my notes up on the wall. So make an appointment with your tax grievance board if that doesn't work out for you. So what's it like when you go to the tax grievance board? It's a lot like going to court. I'm just kidding. It's not really. So you've got 3 members or 5 members, however it is, how many it is, that sit on the tax grievance board in your municipality. So who are they? The assessor is going to be on that, right? No, the assessor is not on the tax grievance board. So you've already met with your assessor, and your assessor's either turned down your request or didn't meet where you needed to go on your tax assessment to satisfy where you think it should be. So it was assessed for $178,000. I bought it for $140,000. The assessor says, "Yeah, I'm only going to go $160,000 on it." You're like, "Yeah, that's not far enough." Okay, you can take the $160,000. You can take what's behind curtain number 3, or you could take what's in the box over here, tax grievance day. Some people like to go with their peers in tax grievance day. That's fine. Guess what? You can do this all again next year if it doesn't work out this year. So what happens? You go to tax grievance day. You got to fill out the forms which say this is contesting your assessment in New York State. Remember, you're contesting your assessment, not your taxes. Get the terminology correct, okay? So if you own property in New York State, you're eligible to for a formal review of your assessment. So And even if that doesn't work, you can still go to small claims. There's also other ways about being able to make this happen. And you don't have to bring your attorney with you. And you shouldn't bring your attorney with you. You should come in with all this stuff. And you know what? Here, what I do with my clients is if my clients want to come in to a grievance review, I'll go in with them. I got no problem with that. And we'll go in and we'll pull all the stuff that we need to pull to say, hey, look, we'd really like to see our tax assessment lowered, or my client's tax assessment lowered, because we bought the house for $140 and it's the assessment's $178 on it. And here's the rest of the houses in the neighborhood or in the school district that sold for the same amount of money that look the same as this house. So there you go. So there you go. So that's kind of the long and the short of it. Don't forget tax grievance day. Most municipalities, what day? Fourth Tuesday in May. Always the fourth Tuesday in May. In green, it is something different, and I'll pull that out for you. It's in June. I'll actually post that up here on my Facebook when I get done here with you. I just forgot what date. It's like the first Tuesday in June. So coming up, we're going to let you know the top 5 most entertaining real estate questions ever. And none of these are me, although some of these happened to me. I'll let you know which ones coming up. So what's been happening over the last week? Well, last week we've seen a lot more activity in the greater Binghamton marketplace. So we had about 840 or 50 houses on the market last week. We're up to 881 today. It's May. People are saying, yes, now is the time to put my house on the market. I have been preaching and saying, I think you should put your house on the market in February and March. Why? Because you're going to beat the rush. The rush is happening right now. Do we still have a limited inventory? Yep, we still do. So 881 houses on the market came on this past week, or that's how much we have today, okay? So where are we at? Yesterday, we had 32 new houses come on since yesterday, 32 brand new listings, so 32 more buyers, or probably more than that, looking for homes out there. 32 new people are looking to sell their house. We've had 17 houses sold since yesterday. That just they've registered as sold, so they're gone. Somebody's got a brand new address now. And 8 houses have expired off the market. What does it mean? They just got tired of having their house on the market and they expired off. Their contracts are done 6 or 7 months, however long they are. Will they be coming back on the market? Maybe. Maybe they'll be back on with somebody new, a new real estate agent who may know a little bit more about grieving your tax assessment. That might be me. So there you go. I've got a bunch of new houses coming up on the market, by the way, just so you know. Be looking for them. Just we're posting one today. One is a 2-family on the east side of Binghamton. I also have a single-family home up by Calvin Coolidge. That's on the MLS right now on 5 Moody Street. The one that's coming on today is on 35 Andrews Ave in Binghamton, just so you know. It's on the multiple listing service. Should be up there now or maybe later on today. So if you're looking for a 2-family and you want to live in it and have somebody pay for your mortgage or part of your mortgage, it's perfect for you, right by East Middle School. A couple more houses coming on. I got one in the Shenango Fork School List, 2 in the Shenango Fork School District coming up, 1 in Cincinnati is coming up, and I believe I have another one in Green and 1 more that's coming on in the Port Dickinson area. So be looking for those coming up pretty soon, in Hillcrest area, I should say. So that's all going on. So some new listings on the way. Be watching for it. If you want to find out more on what's happening with my activity, you can jump on my website. It's above my head. It's called WallyGetsItDone.com. So, are you ready for some fun? Everybody likes fun, right? Okay. Ask the Realtor live at lunch today. Thanks for joining us. We got a few more minutes here. So, here's some fun questions that have been asked of real estate agents. These are actual things that got uttered from buyers or sellers' mouths. Here's one from Hollywood, Florida. This comes from a real estate broker with Lions Realty Group. One of the buyers asked, how do you keep alligators from coming up into the toilet? So apparently Mike couldn't answer the question seriously, so he said he made this weird solution. He told them to pour vinegar down the toilet once a month. They hated the house. They didn't buy it, by the way. Yeah, I've had this. How do you keep snakes from coming up into your toilet? Keep the lid down? I don't know. That's kind of crazy. Here's another one. Do any swingers live in the neighborhood? Wasn't there like a Dodge Swinger? Wasn't there a car called a Dodge Swinger? Something like that. This realtor said, why don't you drive around the neighborhood and see? After all, swingers are pretty friendly, aren't they? Another question. Does the car in the driveway come with the house? Oh, my God. If I had $1 for every time someone said, does the car or the tractor go with the house, or the lawn equipment. Lawn equipment I can see, but people have seen like an expensive car. Here's a Mercedes-Benz, or here's like a, I don't know, 1932 Model A. Does the car come with the house? No, it does not. Does the car in the driveway? No. Is anyone buried in the backyard? Here's another one. I've had people ask me this, believe it or not. Is there anyone buried in the backyard? Well, not that I know. Well, how do I know, Wally? How do I know that there's nobody there? Well, listen, when you finally get to the house and you get to buy it, you can dig around in the backyard all you want and find out for yourself. Are there any ghosts in the house? People ask this all the time. These are some dumb, entertaining real estate questions that some of us get from time to time. Is there any ghosts? Are there any ghosts in the house? I'm asked that a lot. This person, Chris Dozman, a real estate agent in Indianapolis, says, I usually respond jokingly at first that there are ghosts, but then they're friendly. And then usually just say, I'm kidding. People walk through the house and there'll be here some creaks and whatever. Oh my God, are there ghosts in the house? Yeah, but they're good ghosts. There you go. Here's somebody said, I really like the house, but I need to pray about it. Is that okay? Sure. Go home and pray. Can you pray in your car? Because in 15 minutes, I'd like you to sign the contract. So pray about that and then come on out. We'll talk. Yeah, I got a pen ready to go. Put it in the car. Anybody ever notice I always have this pink highlighter thing with me when I'm doing this thing? I'm not really sure. It's sort of like my Linus blanket, I think. Okay. Do you think the homeowner would give me the house without a down payment? I've heard that before many times. My answer is probably not. Or they may, but I won't let you. Can I come back at midnight to see how the moon here affects my soul? Someone actually asked that question. And strange request, the actual agent drove back to the house at midnight. I wouldn't have done that. Drove back at midnight to let the guy in. The guy, what was the outcome? The guy didn't like how the moon reflected in the house, so he decided not to buy it. That's crazy. Why is the garage unfurnished? Here's another question that people sometimes ask. Why is the garage unfurnished? Well, probably because it stores cars, not furniture. You don't live in the garage. Duh. How about this one? Can we close? This is the last one, by the way. Can we close all the blinds and doors and turn off the lights? I just need to see the space at its darkest. Yeah. Well, this happened, and they did. They closed all the blinds and doors and whatever. It's weird, but the person actually bought the house. So there you go. Just some weird, stupid questions. Having a little fun here today at Ask the Realtor live at lunch. Listen, there's nothing funny about paying or overpaying on your taxes. So if you want to have your tax assessment reviewed, if you want to talk about maybe going to tax grievance day, if you want to know a little bit more about it, you can give me a call. My phone number is 725-1446. That's my cell. You can see it above me. You can watch this video over again. I'm going to post it to YouTube. You'll find more stuff there. You can look at my business page. I'm going to print the property tax cycle out there for you so you can kind of see how things sort of go. And if you have any questions, you can certainly just feel free to hit me up either on my website or my Facebook site. You can message me, do whatever. But I'd love to be able to talk to you. You know what? If your tax assessment's too high and you're paying too much money, I would suggest let's get it, go talk to the assessor, or let's go to tax grievance day, which will be next Tuesday in most cases, and get it done. If you have any questions, give me a call. You can hit me up. So there it is. It's Ask the Realtor live at lunch. I'm Wally, a licensed New York State real estate broker, associate broker, I should say, with ERA Decker Real Estate. We'll talk to you next Wednesday, guys.